Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well today. It's October the 3rd, 2025, and this is my weekly ministers briefing, in particular to the good ministers of Michigan that are under my care, under my watch for right now, but all across. I have others that watch this as well, and the backdrop, I was going to go in a different direction, but the backdrop for my remarks today result from last Sunday. The news broke just a few miles from my home, a short drive right here from my office where this is being recorded in Grand Blanc Township. A deranged man, somehow thought it would be a good thing to do to drive his truck into a house of worship, set the building on fire, randomly shoot innocent people, kill them, and wound many others. And there is that backdrop. It highlights the ever increasing hostility against people of faith, and I would say even especially people of the Christian faith. And there is a growing hostility in our nation, and I think we need to be aware of this, and it has to be addressed. And so I want to talk about that today. When hopefully never, but when they come for you, what are you going to do? And I thought about the passage Jesus' remark in Luke chapter 11 when he's talking about in the context of demon possession. And verses 24 through 26, he says, when an evil spirit leaves a person, that evil spirit goes into the desert and looks for a place, another abode. And when he doesn't find any, he comes back to the person and he finds them swept and clean, but there's nothing that replaced what the devil was there. The man didn't move forward after he was set free from possession. And so the devil goes and finds 7 other spirits who are worse than him, and they all move back into the man. And Jesus said, and that person is worse off than before. And I think about in my own lifetime, and it's been going on before that, but in my own lifetime, there has been a systematic, intentional, and sustained effort to remove faith from America, to remove faith from the public dialogue, and especially Christianity. But what people fail to understand is that whether it's in the physical realm or the spiritual realm, nature does not tolerate a vacuum. And so when we remove faith from our culture, something else is going to come in, and it will be worse. And I think about our country. We didn't do it perfectly. I get it. But when the ships landed on the East Coast, by and large, they landed with faith, with the Christian faith. They came here to establish the Christian faith, and they began to push out the spirits and the gods of this land. And as the wagon wheels rolled all across the plains, all the way to the West Coast, the church, Christianity, went with it. And Christianity permeates our nation. I know we're a democracy, and all people have the right to worship the way they want to, or not to worship at all. And I get that, and I'm, as an American, I understand that. But I think anybody that is reasonable and honest will know that Christianity is the Judeo-Christian worldview is the underlying foundation of our country. And as we have been dismantling that, as we've been taking that out of the national dialogue, other things, it's not neutral. Other things have been coming into our country. The old gods are returning. You can see spiritualism, you can see paganism, you've got new gods that are coming in, new spirits. Just a little further drive from this office, I can take you to places where you find no English signs. It's all in Arabic. Every day, day after day. In Dearborn, Michigan, right now, there's the controversy of the city council, the people that are making complaints because of the call to prayer with the mosque. And it's basically little Islam there. I know, and Michigan has one of the largest Muslim populations in America. And so we have all these new religions, new faiths coming in. And so when we remove Christianity, there's not a vacuum. We're not neutral, but other things far worse come moving in. And so behind all of the chaos, all of the confusion, all of the violence, all of the turmoil going on right now, it's beyond political. This is evil. This is darkness permeating our land. This is not just some political issue, but what would cause someone to think that the answer is for me to kill people, and then even to factor in kill myself, some of these people, and know they're going to die. What would cause that? That is evil. That is pure evil that is permeating our country, and it's increasing as more and more as Christianity is being withdrawn. People of faith are being marginalized. And so what do we expect? Worst demons, worst evil will come in. And so what are we going to do when this happens? And so I've got three. This is just a summary. This is just to get us thinking, ministers, pastors, and anyone else that's watching this. But I want to just highlight three things today in this briefing. I want to encourage the ministers under my care, especially the pastors under my care, to revive, go back and look again and revive the Christian doctrine of martyrdom. All right, if we're going to die, let's die on purpose and let's die for the right reason. If we're going to be persecuted, let's make sure it's for the right reason. And then the second thing is I want to encourage our ministers and pastors to be vigilant and to be alert and on one side to find the balance between the doctrine of martyrdom and being stupid. And so I want to talk to us a minute about being wise so that we will not unnecessarily endanger our people. And then the third thing is I want to encourage you to be very intentional. I want you to revive the vital part that comes with being called to be a preacher, and that is to be a watchman and to warn. And so let's just walk through it real quick. But revive the Christian doctrine of martyrdom. I still, when I think about it, I get angry, even at myself and at the Western church. And I'm talking about our response to the COVID pandemic. We've had it so easy for so long that the church has gotten soft. And I see and I hear the talk even now. It's going to be unsafe to go to church. It's going to be unsafe to go out in public. What are we going to do? So what are we going to do? We're going to huddle in our homes and get Amazon to bring our groceries to us? Is that how we're going to live? Live in constant fear? And so, one of the low points in my life was that first Easter when we just rolled over the high holy day of the Christian faith, when Jesus 3 days earlier was willing to die for us, to be the first martyr, to die for us. And then Easter, when we celebrate that he conquered death, we don't have to live in fear. What do? We roll over and they close virtually all the churches in America. That was a low day for us. And I don't want that to ever happen again. And so I remember a sermon here at a missions conference. John Piper was speaking, and he was talking. There was a lot of talk about closed countries. He says there's no closed countries to the Christians that is not afraid to die, and that was like news to he's right. If we're not afraid to die, and so there is a rich history and theology of Christian martyrdom. The martyrs were the heroes, the people that were willing to die, not looking to die, not trying to, hey, kill me, I'm over here, but being willing to put their life on the line for their faith, that we're not afraid to be public in their Christian faith, whatever the cost. Let me just read a couple of scriptures to us. I just want to get us thinking today. When our people start responding in fear, I want to look them in the eye and say, what's wrong with you? Aren't you willing to die for your faith? Where's our heroes? Where's men that are men, women that have a backbone, that are willing to put their life on the line, just like Christ put his life on the line for us? And so I think about the classic, maybe one of the classic martyrdom underpin theology, or verses to underpin our theology. Jesus said in John chapter 12, most assuredly I say to you, Unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. Then he goes on to say, and this is the context, he's his own death. He's just hours away from beginning his march toward Calvary. And he goes on to say, he who loves his life will lose it. He who hates his life in this world will keep it for eternal life. If anyone serves me, and again, this is in the context of him going to Calvary, let him follow me. That's why Paul said, I have been crucified in Christ. Let him follow me, and where I am, there my servant will be also. All right? If anyone serves me, him my Father will honor. Another passage, this is the only other one. Luke chapter 14. There's plenty in there. Just to stimulate our thinking. Luke chapter 14, verses 25 through 27. And I'll to the ministers in Michigan, I'll send you my email to you with this link. I'll send you my notes. And so you'll have these. But he said, now great multitudes went with him. And he turned and said to them, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Now, I'll leave it to you to tease that out, what Jesus is really saying there. But whoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. There is an element, whatever this says, there is an element of being willing to be a martyr for the cause of Christ. I'd encourage you, we don't talk about them a lot. We talk about Paul's epistles and with the pastoral epistles, but there's another group of those, James, 1st and 2nd Peter, Jude. We call those the general epistles. And they were written after the church, the dispersion, after the church had been scattered all over the Roman world and they were being persecuted. They were being martyred, and they write to them, just take it for granted that your property is going to be confiscated, that you're going to be persecuted, that you're going to be marginalized. And those books were written, the context was in a time very much like we are beginning to enter. Study those. Teach those to your people with a theology of martyrdom, being persecuted in the background. We've got to prepare our people. When they come for you, will you have the backbone? Will your people have the backbone to say, I will die for my faith if need be? So when they come for you, pastors, let's equip our people with the underpinning of understanding the doctrine of martyrdom. But now the second thing is, I don't want you to be stupid. Or to state that positively, be wise. We don't want to die unnecessarily. Here's the difference, say, between us and Islam. Islam encourages their people to do violent things, all in to glorify martyrdom. We don't seek to be martyrs, but we're willing to be martyrs. And so there's no sense to unnecessarily put ourselves in harm's way. And so take precautions. And here's just a few practical things to be thinking about. Recruit and train a security team. This is going to have to be a part. You had, we call it frontline ministries. It became popular the last 5, 10, 15 years maybe. You have greeters, you have parking lot attendants, and that's fine. But another requirement of our frontline ministry is to have a security team. Matter of fact, our frontline, our hospitality, our parking lot guys, our ushers, they should have training. They should be aware. They should be alert. And so pastors, take the initiative on learning and learning the issues and raising up a security team. Don't let things just happen. Don't be a responder, but be ready to respond. Be alert. I've got, in our notes, I'll mention her name. It's Kelly Brandt. I believe I'm saying it right, from one of our churches right here close by. I met her just a few Sundays ago. Wonderful lady. She's a part of the sheriff's department, highly trained. I'll give her number here in my notes that I send out to the minister. She's got the access and others that will come in and train you to how to respond wisely and how to have a security team. So I'll give her that number, give you her number. And if you're watching this in other parts of the country, call your local police department. There's people probably in your church that are trained in security, but be intentional. Your insurance company can give you wise advice as well. So contact them, and they'll be glad to give you advice on being ready when they come for you, so that we don't have an unnecessary tragedy from someone that is deranged or a zealot that is crazy, whatever. And then other things you can do is lock your doors once the church begins, and monitor carefully access of who comes in and out. Teach your people to be aware. Talk about this from the pulpit. We don't want to be sensationalists. We don't want to cause people to live in fear, but we want to give them assurance that we are aware and we're doing something about it. We're doing background checks on our volunteers. We have a security team. We don't talk about it. We don't point them out. But in every service, you can be assured that there is somebody here looking out for you. Give your people the peace that they can come to church and they can be as safe as possible. They can be as safe there as they are in their home. And so let's review, let's revive the theology, the doctrine of martyrdom, but let's be wise and prepare so that we don't die unnecessarily. And then the third thing, pastors and ministers, I want to encourage you to be a watchman on the wall. I want to encourage you to use your pulpit, literally and metaphorically, to warn and instruct people on how to live in an anti-Christian world. We're all familiar with the quote that the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. And pastors, you have a pulpit. And to not address these issues, to preach comfort and prosperity and the good life and make Christianity just another therapeutic feel-good movement. Now, there's a lot at stake. Salvation, eternity, lives, the souls of people are at stake. And so our pulpits, we should leverage them to warn people of the judgment to come, warn people of the issues around them that threaten their life, their soul, their body. Our pulpit is not to promote political parties, but our pulpit does not mean that we can't address the political issues and the issues of our day. I thought about Jesus, and just keep in mind, these are just little snippets. All the Gospels are just little snippets of three and a half years of conversations. John said there wouldn't be enough books to contain all the things during his time walking with Jesus. And so just the little snippets that we have of the gospel that we call the Gospels, even in there, he speaks of Herod. He's aware of Herod. He calls, tell that old fox. He's aware. He talks about Pilate killing Galileans and mixing their own blood with their sacrifices as he desecrates their sacrifices. He talks about the Tower of Siloam falling and killing 18 people. He was aware of the political issues. He was aware of the politics. And then church politics, good gracious, he was all over that. A lot of the stuff that we talk about is him talking to the Sadducees and Pharisees. So he spoke to the issues of his day. And so we have to speak to the issues of our day. We're not, let me just read, I try to be careful here, but we're not to be agitators. We're not to promote violence. We're not to promote a particular political party. Those are man-made things, but we need to be mindful that all men are made in the image of God, and we to respect that. All people are our neighbors. And so Jesus said we are to be peacemakers. So we're not to advocate violence, but we have to address these issues. We have to call people to repentance. We have to call people to redemption, not chase them away. We got to warn them of the judgment to come. without understanding the law of God, the standards of God, grace means nothing. It's just a feel-good thing, that God is just this big sugar daddy in the sky and he understands. And so, but the moment that you begin to address God's standards, the devil's going to hate you. He's going to bring his servants against you. And so, but you've got to be a watchman. You've got to warn those people. You've got to warn all people. You've got to warn your people that there is a judgment to come and God has a standard. And so you have to address the issues of your day, of our day. Ezekiel 33:6 says, "But if the watchman sees the sword coming and does not blow the trumpet, and the people are not warned, and the sword comes and takes any person from among them, that person will be taken in his iniquity." He had it coming. He didn't change. "But his blood I will require of the watchman's hand, because he didn't blow the trumpet." Brothers, sisters, you are watchmen. We've got to address the issues of our day as evil continues to come across our country. And evil's on the rise. Iniquity is on the rise. We must be willing to address these issues. So in summary, I want to call you to look again, revive, review the doctrine of martyrdom. In Revelation chapter 21, verse 8, John gives a list of people that will not inherit the heaven. They will be cast into the lake of fire, which is the second death. And here's that list: the cowardly, unbelieving, abominable, murderers, sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake of fire. What was the first one? The cowardly. The people that when they were called to die for their faith, that's what he's talking about there. People they denied the faith. They were not willing to be martyrs. And so they would not confess Jesus as Lord. They were cowards. We cannot let our people be cast into the lake of fire because they did not have backbone enough to die for their faith. Revive the doctrine, the theology of martyrdom. But don't be stupid. Wisely protect your people. 3 times Jesus asked Peter, "Do you love me?" And notice what he said the second time. He said to him again the second time, "Simon of Jonah, do you love me?" He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." And note what Jesus said. "Then tend my sheep." We often think of just to feed my sheep. Yes, we are to feed our people. We are to preach the word, but we've got to tend to them as well. Take care of your people. Keep your churches safe. Tend to them. And then the third thing, in summary, be a watchman. Being a watchman is a part of the calling on a preacher's life, and it must be taken seriously. Ezekiel 3:17, "Son of man, I have made you a watchman for the house of Israel. Therefore, hear a word from my mouth and give them warning from me." And brothers, sisters, you've been commissioned. You've been credentialed. You've been qualified to be a watchman on the wall, to warn your people. And so these are serious times, and take serious measures. And I pray for God to give you courage, to give you wisdom, and to give you strength. I am praying for you. You're on the front lines. Lives are at stake, and I'm rooting for you. I'm here to help you in any way that I can. And so God bless you all. I pray that you have a great Sunday. I pray that God, if at all possible, that God spares us from the things that so many of our brothers and sisters had to go through in these centuries since Jesus first went to Calvary. But if our time comes, if they come for you, I pray that you and me and those that we care for will be found faithful even to the point of death, all for Christ's sake and for his glory. God bless you.